Welcome to Bethel Online Education Hub. Learn anytime, anywhere. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. Let's learn together, the Bethel way.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to our new day of learning and interesting topics in Earth and Life Science. Have you ever wondered how life continues from one generation to the next? If living things have no way to reproduce, all forms of life would eventually disappear. This is why our lessons on perpetuation of life is very important. Today, we'll explore how organisms reproduce and why these processes ensure the survival and diversity of species. By the end of this lesson, you will see that reproduction is the foundations of life's continuity here on Earth. Let's start with a questions. What is perpetuation of life? Perpetuation of life refers to the natural process by which living organisms continue their existence from one generation to the next. It is mainly achieved through reproduction, where parents produce offsprings and pass on their genetic information. In simple words, it is the way life is sustained and preserved on Earth. Without perpetuation, species would eventually disappear. Through perpetuation, organisms not only survive, but also maintain biodiversity, allowing life to thrive and evolve. Now let's begin with the classification of plants. Plants ensure the continuity of life by reproducing in different ways depending on their type. First, we have the non-vascular plants. They do not have roots, stem, or leaves. They reproduce mainly through spores and need waters for fertilization. Examples: mosses produce spores in capsules, which grows into new plants. Next, we have the vascular plants. These plants have specialized tissues. They called xylem for water transport and phloem for food transport. They can be divided into two groups, which is the seedless vascular plants. They reproduce through spores instead of seeds. And these spores develop into gametophyte, which produce sperms and egg cells. Next is the seed plants under the vascular plants. These plants reproduce through seeds, which protect and nourish the embryo. There are two types of seed plants, the gymnosperm and the angiosperm. Gymnosperm are seeds. Seeds are naked, not enclosed in fruits. Usually found in cones. Example: pines, pear, cycads. Pollination is often carried out by the wind. Next is the angiosperm, under by the seed plants. Flowering, flowering plants that produce seeds inside fruits can be pollinated by wind, insect, birds, or other animals. Most diverse group of plants include fruits, vegetables, flowers, and crops. This diversity and reproductive strategies ensure the perpetuation of life across different environments on Earth. How do plants reproduce? Plants reproduce in the process through which plants produce new offspring. They can be either asexual reproductions, where the plants create a replica of itself, or sexual production, reproduction. In biology, reproduction is a word that simply means they they may in which a living organism create offspring. All organisms reproduce in order to continue their species. And the same is true for the plants. Plants reproduction is very different from the large, complex animals like humans. To start up with, let's have a look the reproductive system of a typical flowering plants. The key parts that we need to know about include the first is the sepals. This protects the flowers that hasn't yet opened. Next, the petals, the pretty part to attract insect. Next, the stamens. These are the male parts of flowers, which are made of another and are held up on the filaments. Next is the anther. This produce male gametes. A human male gamete is the sperm, and the female is the egg, in the form of pollen. Next is the stigma, the female part of the flowering flowers that collects the pollen grains. Next is the ovary, another female part of the flower that produce female gametes in the forms of ovules. The last is the nectary, sometimes present in plants to produce a sugar substance that aims to attract insects. Plants reproduce in two main ways, sexually and asexually. Both methods ensure the perpetuations of life. So now let's talk about the asexual reproduction in plants. Asexual reproductions, also called vegetative reproductions. Vegetative reproductions occurs when a parent plant produces new plants using its roots, stems, or leaves instead of seeds. In this method, there is only one parent plant, and the offsprings are identical copies or clones of the parent. This type of reproduction is very important in agriculture and gardening because it's allow farmers to grow plants faster, maintain desirable traits, and reproduce many identical parts. Traditional types of vegetative reproductions are asexual reproductions. First is cutting. A portion of plant is cut and planted into soils. With proper conditions, the cutting develops roots and grows into a new plant. This method is simple, inexpensive, and widely used. For example, rose, sugarcane, hibiscus, and cassava. Next, we have the layering. In this method, a stem of the parent plants is bent down to the ground and covered with soil. Roots form from the buried part, and eventually The new root separates from the parent plant. This method is useful for plants that are hard to grow from cutting. Examples is the jasmine, strawberry, and guava. Next is the grafting. Two different plants are joined so they grow together as one. The scion, a piece of stem with buds, is attached to the stalk. The root plants part of other plants. These techniques combine the best features of both plants, such as good fruit quality from one plant and disease resistance from others. Examples, mango, citrus fruits, and rose. Next, we have the budding. A bud from the plant or scion is inserted into the stem of other plants. The bud grows into a new shoot while using the nutrients of the stock plants. This method is common in fruit trees and ornamental plants. For example, roses, peaches, and apple. Next, we have the tissue culture or the modern method. Unlike the traditional method, tissue culture is a scientific laboratory technique. Tiny pieces of plants tissues called explant are placed in a sterile container with nutrient-rich media. This tissue grows and develops into new plants under controlled conditions. This method can produce thousands of identical plants in a short period. For example, orchids, bananas, and potatoes. Hmm. Now let's talk about sexual reproduction in plants. Sexual reproduction in plants is the process of forming offspring through the fusion of gametes. Unlike asexual reproduction, which only involves one sexual parent, in sexual reproductions require two parents and res- result in genetic variation among the offsprings. In plants, sexual reproductions occurs mainly in angiosperms, which have specialized structure for reproduction. Now let's talk about the steps in sexual reproduction in flowering plants. First, pollination. The process of transferring pollen grains from anther to the stigma. There are different types of pollination agent. Pollination occurs in the way of wind, insect, birds, and other animals. Next step is the fertilization. After pollination, the pollen grain grows a pollen tube down into the ovary. The male gamete travels through the tube and fuse with the egg cells inside the ovule. This fusion forms a zygote, a first cell of a new plant. The third step is the seed formation. The zygote develops into an embryo. The ovule becomes the seed, which contain the embryo and stored food for growth. Seeds allow plants to survive harsh conditions and spread a new eras. The next step is the fruit formation. The ovary of the flower develops into a fruit. Fruits protect the seeds and help in seeds dispersal through animals, wind, or water. For examples, mango, cotton, mango and cotton. And the last step is the germination. When conditions are favorable, for example, enough water, oxygen, and proper temperature, the seeds begin to grow. The embryo develops into a seedling, which matures into a new plant. In sexual reproductions in plants ensures variation, which is important for adaptation, survival, and evolution, while asexual reproductions allow for past identical propagation. Together, they guarantee the perpetuation of life in plants. Now, let's talk about how animals reproduce. Most animals are capable of complex and relative rapid of movement compared to plants and other organisms. Most reproduce sexually by means of differentiated eggs and sperms. Most animals are diploid, meaning the cells of adults contain two copies of genetic material. The animals which give birth of li- uh, to live offsprings are called live-bearing or viviparous. The animals which lay eggs are called egg-laying or oviparous. Animals reproduce to ensure the continuity of their species. There are two main modes of reproductions in animals: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction in animals occurs when the female reproductive cells merge with the male reproductive cells. This fusion is called fertilization, and it results in the formation of a zygote, the first cell of a new individual. In sexual reproduction in animals involve two parents, which is the male uh, produce sperms and the female produce eggs, egg cells. First is the fertilization. There are two types of fertilization. The external fertilization occurs outside the female's body, and internal fertilization occurs inside the female body. Next is the formation of zygote. The sperm and the egg unite to form a zygote, which then divides and develops into embryo. Next, we have the development. In oviparous animals, embryos develop inside eggs. In viviparous animals, embryos develops inside the mother's body. In ovoviviparous animals, eggs develop inside the mother but hatch before or right after birth. And the last is the genetic variation. Offspring are not in identical to the parents. Variation helps species adapt and survive in changing environment. Asexual reproduction creates a new animals that is a blend of its parent traits, ensuring diversity, adaptation, and the perpetuation of life across generations. Now, let's talk about the asexual reproduction in animals. Asexual reproduction is a mode of reproduction in which an organism produce offspring without the involvement of gametes and with, without two parents. Instead of merging genes from both parents, the offspring inherits all its genetic material from a single parent, making it a clone, an identical genetic copy of the parent. This process is simpler or simple and faster than sexual reproduction, but does not create genetic variation. It is most common in simple animals like sponge, hydra, flatworms, and starfish. Asexual reproduction in animals. First is the budding. Is a type of asexual reproduction in which a small outgrowth called a bud develop on the parent's body. This bud forms as a result of cell division at a specific site. As the bud grows, it develops the structure it needed to survive, such as tentacles in Hydra. The bud may stay attached to the parent for some time, forming a colony, or it may eventually break up and live as an independent organism. Since no gametes are involved, the new individuals is genetically identical to the parent. For examples, Hindra, a tiny buds appear on the sides of the parent's body and grow into miniature hydras before detaching. Next example is sponge. Produce external buds that detach on internal buds called gemmules that can survive harsh conditions and later grow into new sponge. Budding allows simple animals to reproduce quickly, ensuring survival and increasing their population, especially in stable environment. Next, we have the fragmentation. Fragmentation is a type of asexual reproduction in which the body parts of the parent animals break into two or more fragments. Each fragment then has the ability to grow and develop into a complete individual through the process of regeneration. This method does not require a mate or gametes. The new animals are genetically identical to the parent. Fragmentation often occurs in simple or less complex animals that have remarkable regenerative abilities. For examples, flatworms. If a is cut into two pieces, each piece can regenerate into a whole new flatworm. Another example is the sea star or starfish. A broken arm, if attached to a part of central disc, can grow into a new starfish. Another examples, sponge. Fragments can reattach to a surface and grow into a new sponge. Fragmentation allows rapid population increase, but it usually occurs in a simple organism. However, it also means that if the parent is injured or broken apart in nature, it can still survive by regenerating into multiple individuals. And the last is the regeneration. Regeneration is the ability of an organism to regrow, lose, or damage body parts. In some animals, this process is so advanced that the whole new individuals can create from just a part of their parent's body. This it goes beyond simple healing. Regeneration can result in the formation of an entirely new organism. If enough of the original structure is present. Like other forms of asexual reproduction, the new organism is genetically identical to the parent. The process relies on specialized cells that can divide and develop into different tissues. Ex- Examples is starfish, a single arm, as long as it is connected to the part of the central disc, can regenerate into the whole new starfish. Next example is the sea cucumbers, can regenerate lost internal organs and body parts. Another example is the planaria or the flatworms can regenerate a complete organisms from very small fragments. Regeneration not only helps animals recover from injury, but also ensure their perpetuation of life by creating new individuals without sexual reproduction. Today, we learned that the perpetuation of life is a very foundation of existence on Earth. Through the different modes of reproductions, whether in plants or animals, sexual or asexual, organisms are able to pass on their genetic information, ensure survival, and maintain biodiversity. Plants reproduce in unique ways, from simple spore formation to the more complex process of seeds and fruit development, while animals also use both asexual and sexual methods to continue their species. These strategies show us that life is not only about survival, but also about adaptation, diversity, and continuity. As we close this lesson, always remember, without reproduction, no species could survive. And with reproduction, life continues, evolves, and adapts to changing environments. The perpetuation of life is what makes our planet full of variety, beauty, and resilience. So, the next time you see a flower blooming, a fruit forming, or even animals nurturing their young, think about how these processes are all part of the grand cycle of life, ensuring that life on earth never ends but keep moving forward from one generation to the next.